New questions being raised today about an internet conspiracy theorist and her reported role in the firing of several White House intelligence officials. This week, the president dismissed several key NSA staff members following an Oval Office meeting with far-right activist Laura Loomer the day before. Trump denied Loomer had anything to do with the dismissals. Joining us now is former Pentagon Deputy Chief of Staff and Special Assistant to the Secretary of Defense, Caroline Zier. Caroline, all right, so we've got Loomer confirming the meeting to NBC News and calling it, quote, an honor to share with President Trump her so-called vetting of these staff members. Others at the meeting, including Vice President J.D. Vance, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who runs, the national security apparatus there in the White House. Loomer reportedly wielded more influence than any of them, even by Waltz, who reportedly was unable to protect members of his own staff. What is your reaction to her, first of all, saying she did this out of loyalty to the president and her apparent influence in his decision-making process?
My response is that the degree to which Laura Loomer, a far-right conspiracy theorist, had influence on a very important personnel matter at the highest level of the U.S. government is any level of influence is too much. To suggest that there is a loyalty test for a senior officer or any service member to President Trump or to any president is incorrect. The oath that any service member swears is to the Constitution. And when you look at General Hawk and his deputy, they were dismissed, fired at exactly the moment when U.S. adversaries like China are looking to take advantage and even embed themselves within U.S. infrastructure and take advantage of Americans in cyber. I had the opportunity to work and see General Hawk directly in action, and he was an absolute master at defending and predicting cyber threats against the United States, Americans, American companies, and a master at developing offensive cyber operations that the Secretary of Defense and a president could choose to execute. Most Americans will never know all that General Hawk did in his 30-year distinguished career because of the highly technical and classified nature of what he did. But that doesn't change how significant it is that he was dismissed at this moment.
So let me ask you something. In light of what you just said about China, about Russian operations and efforts to infiltrate the U.S., when you fire someone with the experience of General Hawk, does that make the U.S. less safe? Does it make our intelligence apparatus less effective?
It has a chilling effect to fire someone and suggest that there was a loyalty test when, as I said, there's no such thing as a loyalty test to the president or any political leader in a professional military like the U.S. military. So it does have a chilling effect. I have great confidence in the NSA and U.S. Cyber Command and the echelons below the general and the deputy director, but it is not an expertise you grow overnight. General Hawk spent 30 years honing his expertise and becoming the master and pioneer in the cyber defensive and offensive arena that he was. So this is a huge loss for the U.S. government and for those institutions and agencies themselves.
I also want to ask you, you were at DOD, your take on the use of Signal, this commercially available app, by administration officials. Politico is reporting that Mike Waltz's team set up at least 20 Signal chats to coordinate official work on issues including Ukraine, Gaza, and China. Now, the NSC has responded saying that, this is a host of one of the approved methods, for discussing unclassified material. But do you think that makes it okay? Just because they say it's approved, is it smart? Is it a good idea to have these people using a more commercially vulnerable app to talk about such serious national security matters?
It is not okay. It is permissible to have Signal on government devices, but it's not intended as the primary avenue for discussing official business, and it's never appropriate for classified information. And there are very specific protocols for record retention if you are in a situation where you need to use Signal, and that is all outlined in guidance from the department. And I would note that the NSA under General Hawk recently released an advisory that there are vulnerabilities within the Signal app, and I fully expect that those vulnerabilities are the interest of adversaries, even more so than before that announcement went out, given that it's now widely known that the administration uses it for official business.
All right, Caroline Zier, thank you so much.